How do you hide something in plain sight in a story so the audience knows what you're saying, but at the same time, they don't? This is one of the more genius things that you can do with a story because of the way that it shocks the audience when your secret is revealed. And it is one of the most exciting parts of storytelling, and I can't wait to share this because it blows my mind. But if you're new here and you love stories and having your mind blown, then consider subscribing and hitting the bell, and I'll post more videos like this one. So there are two main things that you can hide in a story: a message and a character. A message being something that is hidden within a metaphor, and a character being someone who hides behind the mask of a fake character. But I'm going to start with the first one, a message. A message is something that you want the reader to know, a lesson or a truth that you want to impart. This can be anything that you are passionate about. Perhaps there is some kind of prejudice in the world that you don't agree with, like racism or sexism, and you want to express it. The way you can do this in a story is by using a metaphor, but the best metaphors are ones that are neither too obvious nor too complex, but they strike a good balance. Here is an example of a perfect metaphor being used in a story. It comes from a story in the Bible called the Parable of the Evil Farmers. Here is a quick summary of the story, which is told by Jesus. A man plants a vineyard and hires some farmers to look after it while he goes away on his travels. When the harvest time came, the man sent a servant to the vineyard to collect the grapes, but the evil farmers beat up the servant and sent him away empty-handed. The man sends two more servants, and they both share the same fate. Finally, the man sends his son. When the evil farmers saw him, they said to themselves, "Here comes the heir of the vineyard. Let's kill him and claim the vineyard for ourselves." So they killed him. Now, it took me a while to summarize this because this is a very short version of the story, but basically, after Jesus finishes the story, the people listening said, "That's horrible. Obviously the farmers were evil." But then Jesus explains the meaning. In the following verse, it says, the leading priests wanted to arrest Jesus immediately after he told the story because they realized he was telling the story against them. They were the wicked farmers. And it's very clever because essentially he's making everyone agree with the story before they even knew that they were the evil farmers. And sure enough, later on the people did kill him, so his story was accurate. The key point is to create a metaphor that is neither too obvious nor too complex. Now, the second way to hide something in plain sight is equally awesome. It's a character. A character who isn't who they seem, and they are hiding behind a mask. This is a very similar concept to the first example, but it is basically to create a character where the majority of the time they hide behind a mask, but sometimes, on occasion, they hint at who they truly are. So for example, with Professor Quirrell in Harry Potter, the majority of the time he is a stuttering schoolteacher who is always nervous, but there are some moments where you might question. For example, there's a little section of when Harry overhears him speaking in another room, and as you can see, aside from the fact that the words themselves are suspicious, he isn't stuttering. Even though he's only saying a few words, he still isn't stuttering, and it's a very small detail, but some very observant people might notice it and realize that the way that he acts is just an act. So the key to hiding something in plain sight is to take something like a character or a message and wrap it in either a fake character or a metaphor, then give the reader just enough information to hint at the real message or the real character. Almost like you're wrapping up a Christmas present and you're purposely putting a small rip in the paper. Some people might open the present and not even notice the rip, but some people might see the rip and realize what the present really is.